Hey, Connect Group leaders, Pastor Jonathan. Thanks again for being part of our team because, man, did you see how many kids we had last week? Whew. I don't know if it'll be that many kids this week since it's not a worship night, but either way, you're helping make it possible for tons more families to be involved in Connect Groups and for kids themselves to establish a connection with other friends and getting to know the Bible a bit more. So thanks for doing what you do. I want to go over what we'll be doing this Wednesday, so let's jump into it. There's an agenda just like this in Planning Center Services. And if you don't have Planning Center Services yet, I'd encourage you to download this app because it'll have everything lined up in terms of what we're doing, at what time, who could possibly run it, that sort of thing. So that is all here for you to preview before you even come to service. So we'll have these printed off for you in this room at B11, but man, you could do the whole thing from your phone. Right here. So check it out. I'll talk through a couple different elements of it for you right now. Okay, the sport of this month is soccer, and so we will be starting at 7 with some soccer activities. We'll have a goal down here so you can actually shoot in a goal, probably in the hallway so we don't break any windows. Next, we'll do a card game for the second 15 minutes. So we're going to do slapjack again, where again the point of the game is to just flip over the cards, and then if you get a jack, that's not a joker, but if you get a jack card, everybody's supposed to slap on it, and then you get however many cards are in the middle. So to see an example, first person flips that over, second person over here flips that over, next person flips this over, next person flips this over, and you're going, and it's a speed game from all the different sides until somebody has a jack, and then you get all those cards. It's kind of just a fun physical game that takes up a little bit of time, but is fun for the younger kids especially because they can play. It's not very strategic, but it's very active. After those are done, we'll be doing the Bible story from Superbook again. This week we're talking about the birth of Moses and talking about how God cares enough to keep us safe. So our big idea for this week is, I am safe in God's care. Yes. So we'll do our Bible lesson, and by the time the video is done and the activities are done, it should be 8 o'clock, at which point we start our small group activities. The first is an object lesson where you will have a basket, a pretend Noah's Ark, and a bike helmet. And each of these we're talking about how God keeps us safe and how his plan of salvation actually keeps us safe from the consequences of our sin. So the word ark is the same word that is used for Moses' basket. So we're going to talk about how in both Noah's Ark and in Moses' basket, God provided for his people who were able to be saved through an act of faith. So in Moses' case, it was Moses' parents who by faith put him in the basket. And in Noah's time, people trusted what Noah said, his family did, and they were saved by their faith. In the same way we are saved when we put our faith in Jesus. Jesus calls that the helmet of salvation, right, in Ephesians 6. And so there's our analogy between salvation as something that we choose. Like I can have a bike helmet, but if I don't choose to put it on, it doesn't do me any good when I'm riding my bike. Same way with salvation. We have to put that choice of putting our faith in Jesus in order to be saved. For the next memory verse activity, we're going to have the memory verse written on a whiteboard. So we'll pretend that this is a whiteboard. We will have on the board the words. You can write the words, but then you can put index cards to cover up the words, just by taping over them, right? And so kids will have to read the verse. Basically, they're filling in the missing blanks as they go over it again. So you will have the words written up on the whiteboard, and then you'll cover them, so that the kids will have to read part of it, and then they'll have to use their memory to remember what was that missing word or words, and eventually you'll cover up each of the words as the kids repeat it. There's a fun experiment where we're going to have a tub of water, and it's basically sink or float, just like Moses' basket didn't sink because his mom put tar on the outside of it. We're going to have different objects, and you're going to ask the kids, do you think this will sink or float? And the kids are going to guess. You put the object in the water, and they'll get to see if it sinks or if it floats. The fourth object lesson is a cup stacking game where we're going to have a bunch of cups stacked in rows. So imagine those red solo cups, but one of them is going to be a different color. So let's say it's green. And that's going to represent Moses, who's hiding until God's perfect timing, when Moses eventually comes out of the wilderness and says to Pharaoh, hey, let my people go. And so in the stacking game, you're basically unstacking the cups, running around until that colored cup is pushed gradually to the top and it's revealed. So this can be a race. You could do the cup stacking game where basically everybody hides the colored cup and then unstacks it. Any kind of reveal is the point here, because the analogy is that God revealed Moses at the right time. For most of his life, he was hidden in the desert. He was hidden in the basket. He was hidden in his parents' home. And eventually, in God's perfect timing, God kept him safe until that time. Then we've got a couple of word activities. We've got a word scramble sheet, times where God kept people safe, or where the verses speak to that. Again, if we're doing it in age groups, kids can unscramble those one at a time. We have a maze, where you can talk about how God had a path for safety for Moses, even though there were some dangerous crocodiles or things on the side there. Then we also have a coloring page that's available, and those are just activities that you can use as fillers. Another great option for a filler activity is continuing to memorize the books of the Bible using the posters that we had and doing the balloon activity that we did at the beginning of the season. So that was a fast run through, but again, go through Planning Center Services, download the app, you can see the details there, and if you want to download the PDF to look through the details of things to say or ways to make it creative, you're welcome to it. Again, the point of this whole night is to build relationships with the kids that can be a form of discipleship. So if you need to improvise or go off the curriculum, that is A-OK. But thanks for your serving, and we will see you Wednesday at 6:30. Please be there so we can go over any last-minute changes and pray for each other before the kids start coming in at 6:45.